Alright, well, this is Blade CX2. Gonna do a complete teardown real quick, as fast as we can do it. Try to squeeze it all into one video if at all possible. But yeah, here we go. Nose canopy's already off. You guys all know how to get those off. But from there on out, grab your two body rods, slide them out, flip it over, pop the landing skids off. Tail canopy, rear section comes right off. I like to get the top half out of the way real quick. Pull the screws out of the blades, upper blades. It'll take me just a second here. The one and the two. Slide these apart. One blade, two blade. Pop your ball link off. I usually leave the screws right in there. Sometimes they come out, sometimes they don't. Just for ease of this video, I'll leave them in. Upper hub. This one, for some crazy reason, only had one screw in it, but be sure and put another one back in. Take your screwdriver, give it a little cap a pop. Comes right out. Fly bar off. Now to the lower head, same deal, two screws. Pull them right out, two little screws in there. Pull your screw out, throw it in the tray. Same thing over here. Real quick, second screw. Pull that screw out, throw it in the tray. I slide the blades off. They're going to be hanging by the links. Try to pop them off either way, whichever way they come off first. These ones happen to come off stuck to the blades off the swash plate first. Pull your links off, throw them aside. For future reference, if you ever get mixed up, lower rotor blades have the small ball links. Upper rotor blades have the bigger ball links if you're using all factory parts. Dive down here to the bottom. There's 4 screws that hold battery tray on. Quick buzz out them 4 screws. Real simple. Simple stuff here, guys. It's really no big deal to rebuild one of these things. Completely tear it down, put it back together in a matter of 15 minutes. Granted, you gotta have all the right parts laying there ready to go. Like I said, for ease of this video, squeezing it all in for time, kind of hustling through it. But here again, you get your battery tray off. Those 4 screws come out, no problem. First thing you got underneath there is a collar on the driven gear for the upper rotor, or B side, I guess they would call it. It's a B motor, B drive gear. Loosen the collar. I don't take the screws all the way out, I leave them in. Couple fingers on there to hold the gear. Grab the upper head, twist it back and forth and pull it out at the same time. It slides right out. Gear comes off. Good to go. That's out of the way. Up here I pop the upper bearing holder off. I'm down here. Lower rotor head. 4 screws, 2 on each side. Back the screws out. Again, just for ease of the video, I kind of leaving some stuff together. A lot of times I take these top 2 screws out. That way when you put it back together you can slide it on. You can look right through the hole in the shaft and put your screws back in so they grab in that shaft, and then you're good to go. Set that aside. Very carefully pop your links off the swash plate, and as soon as I get this one off, I will show you a little trick. Take your finger, pull the anti-rotation bar out of the way. Anti-rotation pin on the swash plate will slide right past. Swash plate slides off. Spin your collar or your shaft around. There's a retainer collar on here. Pushes against the bearing, keeps those both upper and lower bearings on the outer shaft, the main drive shaft, tight. Back the screw off. Take the shaft, push it down. Collar will pop up a little bit. Get a hold of that thing, slide it right off. There's your collar. Slide this main shaft out. Sometimes the lower bearing will pop out with it if there's a burr or something on here from the screws, but as you can see, you got a bearing in there, bearing on top. There is a bearing in here in the bottom of the gear, which if you put the upper back on, that's obviously how your inner shaft for the upper rotor would stay guided true. 2 bearings, it spins nice on there. But these bearings, if you need to replace them, pop them out. I prefer to use the E-Flite, or several other companies make a bearing holder. It's a billet bearing holder. It's got a little longer neck on it, fits a little better. Same thing here, if you go to replace an inner shaft, I just take a screwdriver, kind of stick it in there, give it a little twist, pop that bearing out. This shaft is good. I already checked it earlier, but if you need to check them for bends, set them on the edge of a flat table, give them a roll, see if they wobble. If they wobble, they're junk, throw them away. Moving on. 2 motors, left and right main motors. Left being A, which runs the lower rotor, the outer shaft. Right being B, inner shaft, upper rotor head. 2 screws on each motor. As you can see, 2 screws on each. Very simple. Pull 2 screws out of each. Once again, I'm just kind of doing this real quick for you so you can see it when we can squeeze it all in, but back these screws out, pop the motors out, screws will fall out on the table. I can get back to those here in a minute. Take my little dikes, very carefully cut your zip tie off without cutting wires. Pull this out of the way. You can see here, once again, left motor, lower on your plug. I found that I always figure upper is upper, lower is lower. And that's how you can remember. You can always tell A drive by the pinion gear is up higher on the, obviously running the upper gear here when they're stacked. Just an easy way to remember. If you need to, write it all down. Otherwise, go back and reference your manual. They usually tell you how everything goes together. But that's the basis right there, the basics of it. 3 screws, you can pop the servos and everything off. If you are replacing a frame, you got a broken frame, something like that, take a utility knife, cut this tape, I slide it right in, cut the tape off, take your 3-in-1 controller and your receiver, pop it right off. Simple, guys, real simple. Hopefully I can get another video going on a full reassemble for you. We'll have all the parts laid out and ready to go, but hey, happy flying, guys. But that's it, real basic. Have a good one, happy flying.